From the Temple of Solomon the King, the chapter called The Warrior. It describes the mindset of the adeptus beginning the great work on the path to find God. The Warrior. There is an indifference which overleaps satisfaction. There is a surrender which overthrows victory. There is a resignation which shatters the fetters of anxiety, a relaxation which casts the winds and manacles of despair. This is the hour of the second birth, when from the wound of the excess of misery is born the child of nothingness of joy. Solve. For all must be melted in the crucible of affliction, all must be refined in the furnace of woe, and then on the anvil of stench must be beaten in the blade of gleaming joy. Coagula. Weep and gnash your teeth, and sorrow sits crowned and exultant. Therefore rise and gird the armour of utter desolation, slay anger, strangle sorrow, and drown despair. Then a joy shall be born which is beyond love and hope, endurable and incorruptible. Come heaven, come hell. Once the balances are adjusted, then shall the night pass away and desire and sorrow vanish as a dream with the breath of the morning. The war of the freedom of the souls is not the brawling of slaves in the wine dens or the haggling of the shopmen in the marketplace. It is the bearing of the brand of life, that unsheathing of the short sword of stench, which lays all the load before the devastation of its blade. Life must be held in contempt, the life of self and the life of others. Here there must be no weakness, no sentiment, no reason, no mercy. All must taste of the desolation of war, and partake into the blood of the cup of death. O warriors, you cannot be too savage, too barbarous, too strong. O storm-blown sons of the fire of life, success is your password, destruction is your standard, victory is your reward. Heed not the shrieking women, or the crying of the little children, for all must die, and not a stone must be left standing in the city of the world, lest darkness depart not. Haste, bring flint and steel, light the match, fire the thatch of the hovel, and the cedar rafters of the palace, for all must be destroyed, and no man must delay or falter or turn back or repent. Then from the ashes of destruction shall rise the king, the birthless and the deathless one, the great monarch who will shake from his tangled beard the blood of strife, and who shall cast from his weary hand the sword of desolation. Yea, from out of the night flashes a sword of flame, from out of the darkness speeds an arrow of fire. I am alone and stand at the helm of the bark of death, and laugh at the fury of the wave, and the prow of my slaughter smiteth the dark waters of destruction into a myriad jewels of unutterable and uttermost joy. I am alone, and stand in the centre of the desert of sorrow, and I laugh at the misery of the earth, for the music of my laughter whirleth at the sands of desolation into the golden clouds of unutterable and uttermost joy. I am alone, and I stand at the storm cloud of life, and laugh at the shrieking of the winds. For the wings of my laughter sweep away the web of the outer darkness, and reveal the stars of unutterable and uttermost joy. I am alone, and stand on the flames of the mountains of pleasure, and laugh at the fire of rapture, for the breath of my laughter blows the bright flames into a pillar of unutterable and uttermost joy. I am alone, and stand amongst the ghosts of the dead, and laugh at the shivering of the shades, for the heart of my laughter pulses as a mighty fountain of blood, clothing the shadows of night with the spirit of unutterable and uttermost joy. I am alone, ye alone, one against all, yet in my thought I have all things. For in it liveth the strength of my might. And if joy come not at my beckoning, then joy shall be slain as a disobedient slave. And if sorrow depart not at my command, then I shall sorrow speed through the valley of death, as a foe that passes not his neck beneath the yoke. In the bastion of my imagination lie all the munitions of my might, and from the tower of my resolution do I sweep away the stars, and pour forth fire and water onto the world of laughter and weeping. I cannot be despoiled, for none can approach me. I cannot be succored, for I am far beyond the paths of man's help. Yet neither would I if I could, for if I could I would not, and if I would I could not, for I have become a giant amongst men, strong as he can only be who has feasted on the agony of life, and drunken of the cup of sorrow of death, and towered above all things. Laughter is mine, not the laughter of bitterness, nor the laughter of jest, but the laughter of the strength of life. I live like a mighty conquering lord, and all things are mine. Fair groves and gardens, palaces of marble and fortresses of red sandstone, and the coffers of my treasuries are filled with gold and silver and precious stones. And before my paths the daughters of pleasure dance with unbraided tresses, scattering lilies and roses along my way. Life is a joy indeed, a rapture of clinging lips and of red wine which flows in beads along the bronze and purple tresses, and then like rubies of blood finds refuge between the firm white breasts of maddened maidenhood. Hark! What is that, the yelping of a dog? No, it is the death cry of a man. Aye, the biting of sharp swords and the shrieking of many women. Ho! The feast has indeed begun, and the rabble have broken in. Skies glisten in the torchlight, and tables are overturned. Wine is gulped down by filthy mouths, and split and mingled with the blood of the slaughtered children of Eros, so that the banquet of love has become the shambles of death. Now all is still, and the rose has given birth to the poppy, and the bronze tresses of the revellers lie motionless as snakes gorged in clotted blood, and shimmer wantonly in the moonlit between discovered limbs and disemboweled entrails. Soon the quivering maggots, which once were the brains of men, will lick up the crumbs of the feast in the temple of love, and the farce will be ended. I rise from the corpse of her I kissed and love, for all is beautiful, more beautiful still, for I create from the godless butchery of fiends and the overpowering grandeur of death. There she stands before me, rose-limbed, crimson-lipped, with breasts of scarlet flame, her tresses floating about her like a cloud of ruby fire, and the tongue which cuppeth from her lips as a carbuncle wet with the strong blood of warriors. I laugh, and in the frenzy of my exultation she is mine, and on that soft bed of bloody corpses do I beget on her the laughter of the scorn of war, the joy of the contempt of sorrow. Life is a horror, a writhing of famished serpent, yet I care not, for I laugh. The deserts awe me not, neither do the seas restrain the purpose of my mirth. Life is a prisoner in a dungeon, yet still I laugh. For I in my strength have begotten a might beyond the walls of prisons. For life and death have become one unto me, as little children gambolling on the sands and splashing in the wavelets of the sea. I laugh at their petty play, and upon the billows of my laughter do I build up the kingdom of the great, in which all carouse are at one table. Here virgins mingle with courtesans, and the youths and the old men know neither wisdom nor folly. I have conquered the deserts and the forests, the valleys and the mountains, the seas and the lands. My palace is built on fire, and water and earth and air, and the secret palace within the sanctuary of my temple is as the abode of the everlasting mirth. All is love, life, and laughter. Death and decay are not. All is joy, purity, and freedom. All is as the fire of mystery. All is all, for my kingdom is known as the city of God. The slave weepeth, for he is alone. O be not slaves unto yourself, lashing your backs with the sorrows of your own begetting, but rather become strong in the widowhood of your joy, and evoke from the horror of your seclusion the morion of the victory of resolution, and from the misery of your loneliness the sword of the destruction of desire. Then shall ye turn your faces towards the west, and stride after the night of desolation, and on the cup of the sunset shall ye become strong as warriors fed on the blood of bulls, and shall step out past the morning and the night and the manliness of might, and to the conquest of thyself, and to the usurpation of the throne of God.